Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to the Catapult Lockdown Virtual Salon. Really glad to be here. I'm Kendel Hippolyte, and I'm talking this afternoon with Evoné Walters of Jamaica, who is a theater practitioner and a cultural entrepreneur. I'm learning so much from her. Thank you. Before I begin, chatting with Evoné, I'd like to give big praises, give thanks and praise to the Catapult team, the American Friends of Jamaica, Kingston Creative, and Fresh Milk for this wonderful initiative of bringing the artists together to talk with us, with each other and with you. So really big up Catapult, big up all the Catapult partners. Please feel free during the discussion with Evoné and I to put in your comments, your questions, and so on in the comments box. We'll be noting them, and when Evoné has finished speaking, afterwards during the Q&A, we'll be dealing with those questions and issues that you brought up. So, thank you so much for being here. So, Evoné, wonderful, ready to bring you in. Welcome.
Hi, Kendel. Thank you so much.
Hi. It's a
How are you
delight.
doing?
I'm good. It's a delight. It really is a
Good.
delight. I can't stop grinning every time I'm thinking, the sessions I've had with yourself and with Rochelle
And
on the
Rochelle.
coach. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been beautiful. Really beautiful. Thank you again. So
You're
listen,
welcome. Mm-hmm.
um, a lot of theater persons start off, with the idea of performing, with the idea of being dynamite actor,
Mm-hmm.
burning up the stage, and your journey began that way and then it moved in some interesting directions, from that and into becoming a small at large behind the scenes theater practitioner in different fora,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
also a cultural entrepreneur in using theater and film too, so tell me something about how that happened.
Whoo!
I
So I
know.
went to Edinburgh College and I studied acting. I did theater arts.
When
So
was
of
it?
course, when?
Yeah, when did you go there?
I started 2007, left 2010.
Okay.
The 3 years was the diploma back then for theater arts.
Okay.
And I went at 16, so I went very young from high school straight into college and, watching movies and seeing everybody star, acting, falling in love. And I'm like, that's gonna
Yeah,
be me.
yeah.
And then when you go to Edna Manley and you're focusing on acting, sometimes so it is while we stay in that world for a time too of acting, we don't know other
Mhm,
aspects of theater, especially coming from high school in my time.
mhm,
That's what we
mhm,
would see. You're not going to say in high school, oh, I'm going to be a director, costume man, maker. Like, that's not something we
mhm,
said.
mhm,
And we
mhm.
also have this thing when we think of theater, we think of star. And everybody want to be a star. Oh, Lord. So I started that and I was doing a few acting gigs, but I wasn't earning from it. My
Mm,
earning came from stage management because persons loved me as a stage manager. I was very
mm,
good at managing, but I
mhm,
didn't feel connected to it. So I was a little bit, I wasn't liking it at all.
mm,
But what I
mhm,
would say is, while being a stage manager, I got to work with companies, and I realized theater companies, and then I started to observe, some of the managerial issues that I believe led to or can cause the companies rising, companies falling. And I started to have concerns about that, just watching it and just internally. It wasn't something that I was talking to persons about.
mm,
And back in 2017, I took a 3 year pause from theater. I did a one and
mm.
two things. Yes, after stage management, I did 3 year pause. And I think that pause was so good. I was depressed. At that time, I didn't even understand why I was depressed until now I can look back. And
Yeah.
I'm like, how did you live 3 years without theater?
Mm,
Working, like
mm,
I did a few gigs, but not like I was in it. I think I was at Jambi's Center Stage, had a training program for 1 year. I'm
mm.
sorry, a training program that I did for 1 year just to keep myself sharp as an actor, I was saying at the time still
Okay.
working on craft.
Okay.
And during that 3 years, just being away, working with other persons, doing production management, project management, I
Yeah.
just started to feel like You know what? I'm growing, I'm blossoming, and I'm ready for a new stage in theater. And then in 2017, I started to do my research. Okay, what could I do? And then my dad and I started talking, and actually he suggested, why don't you just stage literature books? And I go, like he just said it to me, and then I started to research this, do market research, and 2018 I just did it. I was like, this is it, and my parents came on, booking agents with me, and we just ran like a family. This is what we're doing, and yeah, here I am, a creative entrepreneur now.
Okay, you realize how unusual it is to get that kind of warm, close, practical support from family and something like this?
Yeah, and it's not like it was just perfect. Like my mom, sometimes she was like, you
Yeah,
sure?
yeah,
You sure?
yeah,
And then when she started seeing persons interested, she's like, all right, all
oh,
right, we can do this.
wow.
So yeah, the three of us sometimes would travel across Jamaica to schools and market it and pitch it and talk to teachers. That's how I got my business off the ground. Drive around to schools. If it's not the three of us, it's my dad alone, all across Jamaica. And that's how I got my clients.
My Lord. Okay,
Yeah,
what I'm hearing in what you're saying there too is like business skills, administrative skills, business skills coming into the picture, you know? Uh,
yes.
yeah. Okay, did you find you had to go and maybe get more focused training expertise in those business skills? I mean,
Definitely. Definitely. I'm still doing that. I still have so much to learn. Because when I decided to drive around to schools, no one taught me that. We just had a talk with the family. And we're like, how are we going to get the clients? You know, I'm new and I know I look very young, like I'm 12, even though I'm not.
yeah, you still do.
Even though I'm not, all that's the factor. And we just had that talk. And what I did though in 2017, when I decided to start the business, I did a business training with the Branson Center in Jamaica, and they helped us to formulate our ideas. So I did that for a few months, and I started to learn about sales forecasts and a whole lot of things. And I was like, what is this? What is this? And that program made me realize how viable my business was. And then I started in 2018. And even this year again, I did a next business training with the US Embassy. It's called the R program, Academy of Women Entrepreneurs. And I did that again to really assess this company and saying, okay, Evoné, how can you have a sustainable company? Yes, you're doing art. And yes, the craft is very important. But how are you surviving and standing firm next 10, 20, 30 years? Or are you going to fade in 2 years? So I started to look at to do that program this year, which was very, very, very good, and redo my
Mm,
business plan,
mm,
all that
mm,
jazz.
mm,
Yeah,
mm. Listen, Evan, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, I'm not going to dwell on that, but I'm thinking how different your generation of theater activists is from my generation, because I could not, God, at any age, right up to now, and certainly
hmm
conceive of myself trying to work out the longevity, sustainability aspect of theater,
let me answer that. I was reflecting on it when you asked me some time back. I
Yeah.
think those 3 years of not doing theater,
Hmm.
I was so sad, and a part of me was missing, and I never want to feel like that again. I've been really thinking about why am I so determined to find a way to earn in theater. I don't want to live without it. That's just the truth. Plain
Yeah.
and simple.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a bit more about the schools program. You said you're looking at a school text, you said theater text.
So
Tell me.
I started Attribute. That's the name of the company,
Mm-hmm.
and we did, or we still do, CXC, CSEC English Lit textbooks. We did The Tempest, we did To Kill a Mockingbird. We also look at behavioral change using the arts. So we did a summer camp some time back with a few youths, about 60 youths, I remember from memory. And we looked at how we use drama or the performing arts in total in changing persons' behavior. For example, if they're very aggressive, very shy, lack confidence, things like that. How do we empower them to the arts? And I also look at how am I using the arts when it comes on to training forums. So persons, normally you have a training program, you come in and somebody talk, you have 2 pamphlets. Nah. How can we how can we now infuse drama in this training session so that persons they concentrate, they learn better, because we learn a lot through the arts. I always say, if you look at a child, 2 wants to, 2, like seriously, that's how we learn as kids when we were in basic school. That's how they taught us.
Yeah, you bring the body in, you bring everything in.
So why aren't we still doing this right now? Why we forget it as children and as adults? It's like, no, we can't do that anymore. No. So that's what we look at, the 3 arms of the business. The school shows are our main service.
Okay. Tell me some more detail about that, because there are a couple of, go into that. There are a couple of specific things I want to try to tease out and get clear in my mind. Yeah.
Okay, so what exactly?
Okay, so I mean, doing using theater like for training in a business situation, and using theater in some more direct way, like putting on a literature play. How you assess your effectiveness in those things, I mean, is quite different. So I want to get a bit more detail about your school thing. How many schools did you all go to, for example? Say with the Tempest. How many schools did you all go to?
So normally we do schools, about 40 odd schools on average. That's what we do. And so far we have had about 6,000 students over the 2 years. That's what we have had so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And all this is by agreement between yourself and the particular schools.
Yes. So we do bookings with them. We call them. We get their dates to get them to choose a date. We have it at a particular theater because students still want the theater experience, the light, the costumes. Okay. Some of them have never been to theater before.
Okay.
So this is a huge deal for them. Okay. And so they come to us from wherever they are across Jamaica. That is how we do it. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Ministry of Education is involved only minimally, or what?
No, it is. So originally I thought of that. I was like, oh, let me get the ministry. And long term, I do want that. But I just went as a private person and just did it. But what I did was I got an English literature specialist on who leads our question and answer section at the end, prepping them for CXC.
Right. Okay.
That's what I did. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about that too, because I mean, you're doing something like this. You're bringing text to the students. You're not going to be there when they write the exam, obviously, but you bring students and so on. And there's a question and answer session and so on afterwards, right?
Right.
Fine. How did those go? That's my first thing. How did those go? Those Q&A sessions.
The Q&As are actually very good. In the
How
sense
long
that
did it
students,
go for, roughly? I mean,
how long? Varies.
1 hour, it varies. Okay.
Trust me, I've had over 1 hour. We have gone over the time and we need to leave the venue. It just depends. Normally, we're very open. I'm very open. My class is normally so open. They love the Q&A as well. And the English lit specialist is. So as long as they bring questions and the debate is going on, we stay with them as long as we need to. Because each school is different. Each school's need is different. That is how we do it. So students bring their questions, or they ask questions based on, let's say they see something in the play and a question pops up, they jot it down, and then they ask, looking at themes, characters, setting, everything that they would need in regards to the exam, symbolism, all of that. So we'll have that discussion in that Q&A.
Okay. Have teachers ever got back to you after the exams and everything and said anything about,
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm a stickler for feedback. I believe without feedback, the company will not grow. So I normally, even before they leave, I start asking them feedback. So what do you think about the show this time? What are your students saying? And normally I talk to them months after as well. And I've heard teachers say that they have seen increase in CXC passes. I've heard even students at the venue say, oh, finally I understand the play. It's never that boring. It's actually nice. Yeah. I've heard teachers say, for example, To Kill a Mockingbird, some teachers had an issue. Well, this wasn't directed by me. This was directed by Carlin Allen. And some teachers had an issue with students not wanting to read the book. They found it long and boring. And the feedback was after watching the play, The students actually read the book and they were like, thank you, Miss Walters. Some of them
Mhm.
also do testing class after watching the play to
Okay.
see, how their students have learned even more, and they've seen positive results in that as well. So yeah, I'm very proud of the
Yeah,
feedback
yeah,
I've
yeah.
gotten from teachers, and when I hear students say that it helps, like, yeah.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. I wonder if we can look now at see, the picture from the Tempest.
Yes, sure, that's the first
Can you
one.
tell me something about that? Yeah.
So
Oh,
right, so
okay.
that was the Tempest. We did it at Institute of Jamaica this year. We didn't get to do it for long because Corona came.
Oh, yeah.
So that is a scene with the key. If you know the Tempest by Shakespeare, this is a scene where Ariel is in that black. She's a hawk. That's why she has that headset on. I love that headpiece so much.
Love it.
I love when I saw it when my prop designer made it. I was like, yes, yes. And then so in this scene, she has frozen. Those are kings and lords in the background. They in the past did something terrible to the main character Prospero. They banished him. They tried to kill him and send him away.
Yeah.
And so she has come back. She is executing his vengeance in a sense in this moment. And so in this moment, they have all frozen on stage, and she's delivering this monologue as the hawk and scaring them, and they're like quivering and they're trying to figure out what is going on.
Yeah.
So that was a moment there, and as you can see, some students are in the audience at the
Yes.
front.
Yeah.
Yes. So that is that scene right there.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about this, I will say, there are two women in that scene, Zara and Sabrina, who are actually playing men roles. That
Necessity.
that was my challenge this year as a director, or a fear I had to overcome, because I've always wondered if I put a woman, and I know it has been done before, don't get me wrong, I know it's possible that a woman can act a male role. I just had my fears, especially when it came on to students and being that young. Will they look at it open-mindedly? And actually it worked. Maylin Lowe acted Prospero as the main character, and some person didn't realize Maylin was a woman.
Wow, yeah.
I said, yes, Maylin's acting.
That's
yes.
when you know. That's
yes.
when you know. That is when
yes.
you know. Yeah.
So that was very good.
Yeah. No, I can just imagine the experience that is for like a student who has never seen like real, good standard live theater, the impact that would make. Formidable. But I'm also very, very happy for what you're saying about the feedback, about the structured feedback, back from teachers and so on too, because again you want to know, how effective has this been. So this is wonderful too,
Yes.
Well, while we're on it and while we're on the acting, I wouldn't mind seeing the couple of pictures from the the first picture and then the second picture.
Second picture.
Yeah.
Well, second and third in how it's labeled. So second and third photos.
Yeah.
So that's Desmond E. Dennis. This was To Kill a Mockingbird, directed by Carlin Allen. I was just a producer on this one. This was also done for schools across Jamaica, 4th form, 6th form students.
And what was so 40 schools or so, right? Kind of thing, or?
40 odd, right? What was so powerful in this production, in this photo, sorry. So this is Desmond E. Dennis, and he's acting the role of Tom Robinson. Now, To Kill a Mockingbird follows that this black man is accused by this white woman of rape in a society where black were still seen as nothing by white persons, post-slavery, like all of that. And it was a very tense, I can't remember the year, I'm trying to remember the year in my head right now that it was set in, but it was a very racist environment. And this is him on the jury stand, and they're asking him to testify, and he breaks down. And what's so fascinating for me and so amazing is that this actor cried every time. And it was forced, it was real, and the audience felt, and the audience were like, oh no! And they, like, you could hear the audience sorrow in the moment. And then what was lovely, what Carlin Allen did as director, he played the accuser's father. So he's the accuser as well, because the daughter and the father is accusing Tom. So he played Bob Ewell. Okay, and that's the next photo.
Yeah, can we see? Yes, please. I'd love to see it. Yeah.
And that is him now as Bob. And this happens in split seconds. Don't think he has no long time and no scene to go and just like catch himself back. No.
Yeah.
Homeboy comes back very aggressive, cross, angry. Did this to my daughter, and the audience was in awe over this man. And I was just like, wow. And that too made the kids fall in love with the play even more. See, good acting does so much. So much when it comes down to the understanding and the appreciation of the text. So these students appreciated To Kill a Mockingbird and the message and the time period it was talking about and highlighting a moment in history. Yes.
Yeah.
So it was acting phenomenal, directing, and what I'll add, I have to give Miss Allen this. She added as well. So for example, when Desmond came out of his seat as Bob, to transform, came out of his seat as Tom, to transform into Bob. There was a student in the seat. So the students got a chance to come on stage during To Kill a Mockingbird. That was Miss Allen's idea.
Wow.
And that had a next level for them now in regards to learning through the arts. They were on stage, some of them.
Yeah.
Playing Bob, playing this, and trust me, some of them in them characters, some of them holding their characters, and it was a phenomenal experience.
Yeah. So tell me something. I'm thinking that you talk about the craft of acting. You're really kind of going into the theater, what puts people to it, and I'm thinking that in the role that you've transitioned to, it's not the only thing, but the role that you've transitioned to, where you're operating more behind the scenes, where it's as a director, a producer, and so on, and we're going into more cultural entrepreneur things. That aspect of really kind of getting to deal closely with actors and working with craft and that kind of thing. Do you feel do you miss that? Do you feel it's been a trade-off?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. If I'm producing only, I'm gonna miss directing. I really am going to miss directing. I'm gonna miss it a lot. And that's something that for example, when Miss Allen was directing, I had to learn how to teach myself how to back off. Like that was a whole learning process for me, and give the director space to be the director. I do feel though, I do miss it, and that's why I like directing and producing. It is a lot. It is a whole lot. And of course, when we do both, we're concerned about what we're losing, or if we're losing anything. What side of is the artistic side losing something, or is the business side losing something? And that's always a concern. Even mine, I'm very concerned. What I do though to manage that, I like feedback from my team, especially my close team. And I'm very open to feedback. Like, if you needed to work on that, and I'm like, ooh, I lost, that side, that the business side, I needed to strengthen that, or the artistic side, I needed to strengthen that. Yeah.
So it's a real balance, but it's a real.
Yes. But I'm a director at heart. When it comes on to my art, I see images all the time, and directing soothes my soul. So yeah.
I know you mean. For persons who've just come in, I just want to let you know we're on the virtual lockdown, the lockdown virtual salon, and I'm speaking for Evoné Walters, who is teaching me so much. No, seriously. So, how do you view? It's a kind of an unfair question, but how do you view? So, like my generation of theater activists, right? Who kind of like, it's like theater for the cause kind of thing, and and the business side of it, which is really where the sustainability comes in, we really did not pay that kind of attention, I think, that we could have or should have, and so on. How do you view us? How, where are we in your view of what we gave, what you took from us? Where are we in that? And how do you see yourself taking what we did next stage forward?
For your generation, I believe you guys did something very sacred. You were very focused on perfecting and understanding craft. you help to shape the identity that we now say we are theater persons. When it come on to drama and in that field, I think that was a very, 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 very important moment in our history. And that's something that we still have to work on. It's not that journey hasn't ended. My generation still have to pick that up and keep shaping our identity and perfecting craft. If I look at that generation, I'm going to look at a Trevor Rowan, for example, and the work they did with Barn Theatre, and how they came together to just perfect craft, work before they put something on stage. I believe my generation is focused on or adding, I like to call it an addition. I like to call it an addition. How we're monetizing theatre. You know, we have inherited that we do a part-time or full-time job, and then theatre is what we do on the side for free. And my generation is trying to ask the question, okay, how do I do theatre full-time for money? Or should I say with money? So that is, and I think we're at a very important moment in our industry. In our industry, I think so. So yeah, and I know the debate is the craft going to suffer if we are just about money? But I'm like, we're not just about money.
Right.
Well, I know I'm not.
Yeah.
You know, I'm about the craft. Because whenever I'm directing anything, I'm calling Eugene Williams, who is I'm just going to say it nicely, a big deal in Jamaica. He's going to be like Evoné to but he is one of the most respected directors, or one of my most respected. I respect him a lot.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm directing, I reach out to Eugene, I reach out to Caroline Allen, I reach out to so many people and say, hey, what do you think about this? Because my craft is important. But we're also adding that we want to earn from this. And we're looking at, as well as I would hope my generation is looking at, how in new ways are we using drama? Yes, we're doing productions. But like how I am saying, okay, let me look at education through the arts. And the more we start looking at new ways to use the arts, is more we can say, okay, this is how I can monetize the art and actually earn a living from it full time. So I'm really hoping my generation is asking that question to itself. And yeah, but it's to keep the balance though. We have to keep the balance. You have your generation started on a path, you gave us something and you say, here, take it. Now we need to build on that, keep the quality alive and ensure, you know, that it's of good product. And then say, okay, let me pair it now with money. Let me pair it with a strong business structure and bring it to the public.
Necessarily so.
Yeah.
No, Evan, it's been a real inspiration talking to you. You know, I mean, I know the two things are not, you know, I know the two sides are not at loggerheads essentially. I know it's not an either or, but I know that most of my generation, even when we did not see it as an either or, we did not understand how to bring in the business aspect of things and still keep, you know, the craft going, and also still keep the ideological factor going as well, because, you know, we also, you know, a lot of us were about, you know, theater for a new type of society and that kind of thing. That in a while. So balancing those things, I don't think we succeeded. I think we did good work. It's kind of like lopsided. I'm listening to someone like you. I'm seeing, no, the balance is not just as possible, it is actually beginning to happen, you know. So that's really absolutely wonderful, you know. What you were saying also about bringing theater skills, theater perspectives, and that kind of thing, not only into the arts directly, so, you know, because there's still an arts connection, but bringing it into other types of areas, the type of form of society, like for training, like in businesses and so on, and for summer youth camps and that kind of thing. I want you to tell me a little bit about that kind of work. I know you did some work like with like summer workshops and, you know, work for community change, that kind of thing. I want to talk a little bit about that. Yeah.
Okay. So then I go to summer camp. Let me talk about summer camp I did some time back. So this is, I also look at theater in regards to behavioral change, how we're using it to positively influence individuals. And back in 2018, I think, yes, I did a summer camp with Rosetown community. in regards to about 60 students in relation to 60 students, and we did performing arts looking at behavioral change. So we look at students with aggression issues, participants I should say, conflict resolution issues, low self-esteem, things like that. And we came in and used the art, we injected it in with activities that we did to positively influence them. And then at the end, they stage a production for their community, showing the community, of course, their new skills that they have learned. And they enjoyed it a lot. It's teens and it's the arts. Of course, they're going to love it. They enjoyed that.
Now, so I will understand pretty clearly how you assess the effectiveness of the work that you did in schools. How do you assess the effectiveness of that kind of work? I mean, because you do production, people enjoyed it, etc., etc. How do you, is behavioral change you're after? How do you assess the effectiveness of what you've done after the workshop, after the community production, etc.?
Well, before we reach after, I'll say during. One of the things with behavioral change, you can literally observe the person behavior during your time with them. And what you can do as well is what I normally do. You have a sheet, you have your notes, you're making your notes and you're tracking, because you know your lesson plan, you know your aim. So now it's for you to observe as these 4 weeks, 1 year, 9 months, however long it's taking. And you're observing, okay, I met this person at A. Okay, during the middle of the program, they know, okay, they're less shy, they're more confident. Okay, they're less aggressive. They have not fought in 1 week, 2 weeks with any participant. And that's a huge deal. If I remember, I can imagine that if someone comes in and you're constantly fighting, and 2, 3 weeks of working with them, you don't see them fighting anymore. You don't see them shouting anymore. Come on. That is how you're seeing the change. You can also, and post after this project, any project has ended. What I do, and especially with a project I worked on recently, it wasn't for my company, it was for WMW Jamaica. Keep in contact with the participants, or keep in contact with the community-based organization that you worked with. And you can check in with them and say, okay, how is it going? Are you seeing? And you monitor that with them. So like my girls from Clarendon, most of them I still have conversations with. And I'm seeing, okay, that those months I spend with them, where are they now? That's what I do.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you answer my question. You're answering my question even more fully. You know.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. I'd like to. Well, let me encourage persons again who are looking on. Feel free to get your questions in, get your comments in. I'd also like to really take the time now to again really and sincerely from the bottom of my heart thank the Catapult partners, the Friends of Jamaica, Kingston Creative, Fresh Milk. This couldn't happen without them. So I'm really, really appreciative, But feel free, people, to throw in your questions and comments as we go along. Are you using film, video? I remember in our conversation you were beginning to say something about the use of that. You beginning to use some film and video in the work that you do?
Well, Corona is forcing me to. So originally, no, we weren't really. Yes, I did. Well, that's not true. Yes, I did. When it came on to the learning training, the training sessions that we infused drama with, that I did digital. Those were films that we did, short films, like 1 minute films. So it was a training session for community workers, and the client wanted to infuse drama to teach, not just to speak in their sessions, but to use these short films as assessment tool. So the community-based organization members would watch these films and say, oh yes, I resonate with what she's saying. Honestly, we have been doing that and we have not been functioning well as a company. Or, no man, that exactly what she said in the video. We have done that and we are growing as a business. So they use it to say where they are, to assess themselves. And I actually really liked that. So we were hired, we were contracted to do that, and we did it digitally, so that they can carry it around Jamaica to different workshops and showcase and use in training. But as a company with COVID-19,
more crucial.
It's more of a push going a space that I wasn't thinking of really going. And it's tricky. There's two sides of it. The businesswoman goes, maybe this is your sustainable plan. How can it be your sustainable plan? The businesswoman is intrigued. The artist goes, but you're gonna not have any audience. You're not gonna have people walking in the theater. You're not gonna hear them cheering. You're not gonna just stand and watch the kids. Like seriously, like the whole live aspect of it, like the artist in me is just heartbroken. I just can't function.
Ouch.
But the businesswoman is like, yes,
yeah, it's an opportunity.
You can earn an opportunity. Jump on it.
Yeah.
The struggles. But yeah, looking at film, entering that digital space, asking myself hard questions. What does my company look like in the digital space? How are we identifying and showing up and delivering our services? And as well as I don't want to be just a click and watch. Other persons are doing that. I've said to persons, if you're only a click and watch, especially me learning through the arts, I have to think of something. Or maybe that's just me as an individual. I have to think of something different. Because if not, I'm competing with Netflix, TVJ, everybody.
Exactly.
And it doesn't make sense. And I always say, I'm a young entrepreneur. I don't have money to waste. So when I move, I am moving sure, like in a sure frame of mind to get this out. And I implore other theater persons to just think of entering this space is new. We're birthing something new. What can we do?
Again, I'm encouraging persons to send in your comments and your questions. But you've used the phrase more than one time as a young businesswoman.
I don't even realize I did it.
Yeah. So the woman part I want to focus on. I mean, are there many young women like you in this area of cultural entrepreneurship in theater arts? You're a maverick. Are there others like you? You trying to get other persons to come in?
So that's a whole discussion I had this morning with someone. We started counting. We literally started counting. I was like, all right, let's count. And I started asking persons last night, tell me about the other females. But the fact also that I had to ask about for other female producer directors, it tells you the state of the industry.
It tells you.
So there are a few names came up. And of course, in Jamaica, when we talk about female creative entrepreneur, theater entrepreneur, we go to Delia Harris. She's the one really out there leading and pushing. She's one of the names that come up, and I'm hoping, I'm creating and building that my name is the second name that will come up.
Wow.
But yes, we still need more women coming in the space and taking that leadership role of running this creative business, of producing these plays, of directing these shows, and like we said, take up space. Space.
Okay. There's an arc, if you like, or a frame I'm seeing whether you're doing theater in schools, whether you're doing it in community workshops, and so you're for behavioral change. You're talking, it seems to me, about theater that actually is helping or is aimed at social change, directly and indirectly. If you're aiming at social change, then there's presumably some kind of rough idea, really, of the type of society you'd like to see come into being, the type of society you want to change to, that you're using theater to help, being. What kind of society is that? What's the shape, the type of society? You see, I think that's where my generation was a little bit kind of like, we were kind of like pretty clear, maybe even hard line about the type of society we want to try to create. Sometimes too ideological, maybe. But I want to hear from you about what kind of society you're trying to help bring into being through these different areas that you're using theater in.
Okay. Good question. I had to do some deep thinking on this one last night. Whole discussion about it as well. And why I wanted to find a way, one sentence or one phrasing for everything. So I would say an artistic essential society. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Yes, we're going to get into it. a society where art is the first thought and not the second one.
Boom.
That is what I actually want. Like, yes, and I had to do the real thinking about it. That's why I started the company too. Outside of the fact that, yes, my calling, I want a society where it looks at us and realizes that, whoa, we are important. What we're doing actually helps. That's why I'm looking at the creative arts and learning, interjecting it in high school curriculum, is to realize that we are a necessity to the growth of society. And also looking at just different ways that the arts industry can partner with other industry to provide services, hence being an essential service is what's coming to me, but
Yeah.
yes.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
So that's really what I want. And I was saying to someone earlier, going back to sustainability. I know we're having sustainable business. I think that if we look at theater or the performing arts with other industries, we can create so much new services. And with that, we are in the center. We're not the afterthought, like, oh, I wonder, you know, like the joke I was running. You go to certain places and you fill out a form. You're other. You know, your profession not on it.
Yeah.
You click other and then write theater director. So that's where I want us to go, and I'm hoping that my generation, taking the craft your generation worked on so hard, keep working on craft and keep looking at, okay, how can we put theater front and center?
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we start to give any kind of questions and so on, I'd like to just take a look at the video, which gives a taste of some work. Yeah.
When I look at where I'm coming from, I know I'm blessed, and I close my eyes and smile. Sometimes I feel like the richest man in Babylon, and I've done my best, so everything's alright inside. Oh, every morning I rise, I stare at the sun. I know it is a blessing. So when the evening comes, I lift up my eyes to the hills. I'm blessed, oh man, with my two hands in the air as far as I can. As far as I can.
Nice.
So that was our summer camp, and those are just a compilation of photos that we took throughout the time period. Actually, just seeing that video again, I just, had so much memories just came back, and wow, yeah.
I want to go back there and start doing some more work, right? Again, just giving thanks for this tremendous initiative by the Catapult partners, by Friends of Jamaica and American Friends of Jamaica and Kingston Creative and Fresh Milk. Very giving thanks that we can have this kind of conversation. Encouraging persons, any kind of questions or so on that you have, comments, feel free to throw them in. COVID has changed things so drastically. How do you feel about the next, say, 5 years or so?
In relation to theater, in
relation, like the work in schools and community work,
for the next 5 years, I can say what I plan to do. I plan to start looking at other subjects as well in regards to high school curriculum and interjecting.
Okay, all right.
Not just literature, right? Looking at new subjects to create new services for students to learn from, and as well as look at more ways to do behavioral change work, because I really love that. I love workshop. It's so amazing, especially with teens. They're so full of life.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. So I do love that. And for the next 5 years, that's what I'm working on. As a businesswoman, I'm really working on as well as how to ensure that my business is sustainable. Like, I'm asking myself these questions, and by the end of 5 years, I should have a solid answer, and it is running and it is working definitely for the next 5 years. I don't want to be next 5 years of calling me and I'm like, oh, I'm not doing business anymore. I couldn't figure, like, no. No,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
That's what I want. In the next 5 years, when you come onto the industry overall, why I'm still watching that. Because with COVID, we're shifting so much. But I do believe, even if we're using the digital space, there will still be a need for live theater post-COVID.
Okay.
So if it is that there's a merger of both going on, digital and live, nothing can replace live theater.
Yeah, so
Tell you,
yeah.
Pardon me?
It's a different experience.
Different experience. So we will rise again with that aspect when the time is right.
Yeah. I love that we will rise again.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can hear from the audience. I think they've got very questions and so on. I want to throw at you. So yeah, that's definitely for you. Yeah.
From the technical schools, authorities from any of the technical schools, I think I'd want more clarification on that. What does technical school mean? I know in Jamaica we have technical high schools. I don't know if that's what you're referring to. And we have had them at our shows as well. Because we have a mixture. When you come on to, as long as they're secondary level educational students, they're at our shows. But I'm going to ask Kadian to just explain a little bit more on that one so I can answer that fully if I haven't.
Okay. I guess you'll come back, but let's deal with this first.
Oh, I love that one. Thank you for the business idea.
Nice.
Thank you. But I love that. I didn't think of that. I thought there's a project I'm creating for teachers that I had on table. I've written, but I never thought of parenting, which, let me tell you, is very important, because working with so many teens too, I also see issues when it comes on to parenting and how it affects behavioral change. So I'm liking that. Thank you very much. So no, but I will.
Okay.
Yes, okay. Hi, Zara Warner, who is a trained drama therapist. Let me just put that out there for anyone in the space who might desire one. So I'm curious about your view on the therapist value. Okay. When it comes down to schools and when it comes down to behavioral change, I would say having a drama therapist, and I'm assuming, Zara, that you're referring to drama as you are a drama therapist. I would say having a drama therapist being a part of whatever program we're looking at when it comes on to teens, school and beyond is very, very, very important. It brings a whole different energy to the space, that you're not just sitting and talking. Sometimes persons are scared of sitting and talking. But a lot of times when we work with drama therapists, they're working on issues that they don't even realize that they're working on. And I love that so much. And I would say having a drama therapist or any therapy overall is so important when it comes on to working with individuals to heal and change behavior. Do you have advice in terms of bridging the often perceived divide between theatre creators and investors to communicate this tangible and intangible value and securing the support? Author girl, it sounds like you and I are best friends, man. You know what's going on in my head. The advice is, okay, I believe in order to do change, to create change, you have to be the change. And I know that this divide or this misunderstanding, this lack of knowledge is there in our industries. Investors don't know how to measure our services because it's intangible. What I have been doing is, I think a lot of us need to get trained or get some experience. So I've actually applied for school overseas. And during my program, I want to learn how to do that. And I want to come back as that person, that advocate, to help to change Jamaica and say, okay, Jamaica, these are what I have learned. These are the structures I'm advising us to implement, and be there step by step to implement them. Literally, that's why one of the reasons I want to go to school, and I want to go to London and work with organizations, government organizations that are helping the creative industry, and to see what they have done, how they have done it, and come back and do it here. But if we sit as creatives and just have that discussion, nothing is going to change. We have to go learn it. experience it, come back and lead it.
Wow.
You have a broad reach across Jamaica. Are you a part of a Caribbean theatre community that inspires your work or that allows you to feel connected to theatre activists beyond the national landscape? No, but honestly, Annalie, I would love to. I have one connection in Trinidad, and Marvin and Camille Comina, who came from Trinidad, who are now in Jamaica. I've been networking with them here, but I do not know of any Caribbean theater community that I can join. But if there is, please share it with me. I would love to. And I meet Kendel, and I'm like, woo, one more person across the Caribbean.
Yeah.
It's so important too, because we want to see what our Caribbean people are doing in each country. Where is theater in your country? Like, I've asked you, Kendel, like, what's the theater scene like for you over there? We've talked about that. And that community is so important that we can grow as a Caribbean and help each other, sharing information, sharing structures that we're now creating. Yeah.
It's so much more possible now. I mean, there have been attempts in the past in my generation, but a lot of them fell through. But it's so much more possible now. The technologies make it a lot more feasible.
And honestly, Annalie, I never thought of that. Even if it's not there to create it, I know my mind is churning. My mind is like,
Yeah. You need to
should
clone
I?
yourself, Evoné.
I know. I say it all the time.
Oh, Lord.
Beam Vibes. How do other islands keep up with what you're doing in the arts? Thank you for that. So before, I'm on social media. I am on Instagram. My business page is Instagram, Artribute _JA. And on Facebook, we're Artribute JA. I will also add to that, I'm so grateful to Catapult. I was just awarded a grant, the consultancy voucher to build my website. So that is how I'm looking at reaching to other Caribbean islands now, especially now we're saying we're going in the digital age, to move my services there. So other Caribbean islands, Caribbean schools, corporate companies, anyone and everyone who wants to work with me, have a website you can find me at and see my services and contact. So, yes.
Wow. I am feeling so. I mean, we'll take any questions coming in. We can only do one more question, I think. But I am feeling so energized, so much. I'm not just saying this. I'm feeling, I'm feeling a sense of hope, of reaching out, of possibilities. That I don't know that I felt it as strongly before. It always kind of came and went, but I feel it more strongly about theater after my interaction with you. So it's a really sincere thank you I give you. I get the sense of, okay, we have a future. We have a future. The aspects of it I can contribute to, but I'm glad I can do a couple of things I can do reasonably well, and just leave it to people like you to take the big steps that need to be taken.
And thank you, Kendel. I'm so honored that you think that and that you share that with me. I said to people, staying in theater full time isn't easy.
No.
It's a developing industry, and sometimes it is so rough just to keep afloat financially, and it's so amazing when someone sees your work and says, yes, there is hope. Or when Catapult says, yes, we are very intrigued with what you're doing. Come and talk about it. It also motivates me. It gives me more drive to go and really do this. So yeah, I'll keep doing the work.
Real thing.
Yeah.
I'd like to just go to the last picture, which kind of exemplifies in a way.
Oh my God.
Well, you're not behind the scenes, you're there in front as a performer.
Let's see the last photo.
Yeah, it pulls together. It pulls together the active work, but what you're aiming for, what you're saying no to, in a sense, what you're saying yes to. It's really, really wonderful. So Patrick, I don't know if you're okay there, or that photo is walking off very vibrantly. Yeah, it's just in case we don't get to it.
All right.
Yeah, but I mean,
So I actually like it. It's the one, I call it the one photo of me on stage, or the rare photo of me on stage, holding up that card saying, "We want justice."
yeah. And there's a sense in which the theater work that you've been doing, it's justice is one aspect, but a very, very large aspect of the kind of
Here it is.
go.
Here it is.
There you go.
I was hired as a drama and education consultant for WMW on this project. It was called the Just Project.
WMW is what?
WMW, formerly known as Women's Media Watch. They're a gender-based advocacy organization, not for profit. Okay. So this was a project they worked on with, it's called the Just Project, Justice Undertakings for Social Transformation, sponsored by Global Affairs Canada, and it was done with the Ministry of Justice Reform Implementation Unit and UNDP. So they hired me to come on and say, how can they infuse drama in their training sessions? So this was me doing a scene with somebody saying that they want justice, and we use that to invoke discussion, to start discussions with our participants. You know, what does this person want? Why would this person feel like this? And it was a good discussion starter. It really went. I also created scenes in the workshop for participants to act out, looking at the justice system, issues that they were going through with the justice system, suggestions they have for the justice system. So it's a good outlet for them to talk about what they're going through, the writing on a piece of paper. And then we took that information, the WMW took that information and brought it to UNDP and Ministry of Justice in their report. Yeah. So it was so good. Yeah. It was so good. We want justice.
Yeah, phenomenal work. So again, I'd like to, as we're closing, I'd like to again express big thanks and say big up everything to the Catapult partners, the American Friends of Jamaica, and Kingston Creative and Fresh Milk from Barbados. Please remember to join us for the next Catapult Lockdown Virtual Salon. This is on Friday, October 30th, and at 1 o'clock, Marique Visser of Suriname will be in dialogue with Katrina Coombs of Jamaica. And then at 4 o'clock, she'll be in dialogue again with Gabrielle Wilkes of Trinidad and Tobago. So that's Friday 30th, 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock. Looking forward to that. So, I want to thank everyone for being here. Remember to subscribe to Fresh Milk, the Fresh Milk YouTube channel, where you can see all the previous sessions, and encourage others to tune in, to look for it again. And this has been really, really wonderful and energizing. From my first contact with you right up to now, it's been beautiful. So thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Catapult. Bye.